All right, yo, we're gonna talk about Jake Paul and his 5-year plan because look, he decided to, make a little letter or make a little shit and then type in what of his plans. Let's look at some of his plans or some of his, goals that he has for the next 5 years, man. Let's check how delusional these goals are or how, you know, either how delusional they are or how realistic they are. How realistic are these goals of Jake Paul? Either we're gonna make fun of some of them, or we're gonna be like, okay, Jake, we think you might do this. But yeah, man, Jake Paul is, we already know Jake Paul. Everybody knows Jake Paul. This guy is delusional. And the fact that now he wants to sue people that say that his fights are rigged or his fights are, not real, or if his fights are just pretty much, just a scam. And, my opinion, I believe it's a scam. I believe his fights are a scam. Not for the reason that I think he's paying his opponents. I don't. Obviously, he's paying them because he's the one that's putting up the cash. But he's not paying extra money for these guys to dive or anything. He's just getting these guys out of their prime. He's out here getting old men, 6-year-olds, retired, fighters with arthritis, with just everything, man, with medical issues. And he's not paying double for them to dive. He's just getting them out of their fucking prime, physical prime. These guys fighting grandpas out here. He's out here fighting elder citizens, older. He's taking advantage of the poor, of the the older gentlemen out there, the old heads. You can't be out here disrespecting the elderly like that. Come on, dog. Show some respect to your elders, Jake Paul. Show some respect to your elders, man. Now he's taking on, midget. He's taking on a midget. Even though I don't like Gervonta Davis, I hope Gervonta Davis knocks his ass out with a beautiful uppercut. Because even though Jake Paul's a bigger dude, Gervonta Davis has all the skills in the world to deal with someone like Jake Paul. Especially, he's going to have the speed advantage. He's going to have the power advantage, even though Jake Paul's a bigger guy. But, yeah, it's a cherry pick gone wrong. It's going to be a cherry pick gone wrong unless rigged. No, I'm just kidding. Unless it's an exhibition, which is going to be like, it's going to be an exhibition with big old gloves. But anyways, I'm not going to talk about that shit, about that terrible, disgusting fight. A waste of fucking time. It's gonna be a glorified sparring session. That's what it is. It's gonna be a glorified sparring session. Anyways, let's go back to his 5-year plan. Alright, so here we take a look at Dear Future Jake. I can't read properly because some of it is a little bit blurred out here, but I'm gonna try to, read as much as I can. Oh my god, terrible. I can't even read this. Alright, I could read some of the goals though. So let's go read some of the goals here. Some of the goals of Jake Paul: become world champion. All right, you can kiss that. You can just kiss that. You're playing goodbye already. All right, already you can kiss this. You can kiss it goodbye. You're never gonna become a world champion, a legitimate world champion. Because with these terrible, organizations, these they're always out here just. Just because Jake Paul brings in the money, they might even make him a world champion. They might, email him the champion, the world championship. They might put him against a can and sanction it as a world champion fight. They might even make a whole different fucking title just for Jake Paul. I'm telling you right now, that's the only way this guy becomes a world champion, because this guy is never going to become a legit world champion, especially at his weight. Why? Because these guys are just. He's never going to become a world champion, dog. I'm telling you right now. It's his weight class. What? Heavyweight or cruiserweight? Who's going to fight at cruiserweight? Jaya Potara? He's going to clean him up. Zurdo Ramirez is going to piece him up. Even though they already did a stare down. Look at the fucking size difference between a Zurdo Ramirez and a Jake Paul. Look at the size difference. Night and day, man. Zurdo Ramirez makes Jake Paul look like an ant. Alright? And Jake Paul is a pretty beefy dude just because of all the roids that he's taken, allegedly. Alright? I don't want to get sued, but allegedly, he, in my opinion, he's definitely on roids, bro. Look how big he is, man. And I'm not talking about muscle. I'm just talking about how just he looks like he fucking Skeletor, bro. He's just, I don't know. But anyways, Become a world champion, not a chance. Not a chance, man. All right. So that one's not happening. Get married and have 3 children. Well, I mean, with you and your money, I mean, you could. I mean, you already have a girlfriend, but even if you didn't have a girlfriend, with your money, you could just get whoever you want at this point, bro. Let's be honest here. So that one's not hard for you. Fight on the moon. Oh my god. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about Jake Paul fighting on the moon, bro. What is he talking about? Fighting in the moon. They haven't even gone to the moon since what, the 60s? Come on, G. Haven't been in the moon for a while. They're gonna send your ass to the moon. Imagine him fighting in the moon. Hopefully he does. He'll never come back. So hopefully he goes in the moon and he never comes back, in my opinion. But look, fighting the moon. You gotta be something more realistic, Jake Paul. You know, you gotta pick something in Earth, on planet Earth, because you're picking at something that is just clearly out of your hands, man. I like the way you think. You think big. You have big dreams. You're very delusional. So that's probably the reason why you're where you're at, because your delusion is taking you to a lot of accomplishments. I gotta give you credit. You do have some accomplishments in your life. I gotta give you credit on that. But come on, fight on the moon. You gotta pick something here, man. You gotta pick something. How about fight in the desert or fight underwater? You could do that. Fight underwater. They could make like an underwater fucking arena somehow, and just like a little dome or something. Put some AC in there and some oxygen in there and stuff, and we're ready to go, man. You could probably do that. I think that's a little bit more realistic, fighting underwater, under the sea, than fighting on the moon. So hey, I'm giving you ideas, Jake Paul. I'm giving you ideas. So better put that in there. I better see that shit written down in your next updated list, because that is a great idea. Under the moon, no chance, brother. Under the water, you have a better chance. So you better just fight underwater instead. Start a presidential campaign. Oh my god, man, this guy is just. I mean, you could start a presidential campaign. That's you could do that 100%. That is actually, for a second I was gonna be like, start a presidential campaign. I mean, like, yo, he could actually do that. Doesn't mean he's gonna win shit. Doesn't mean he's gonna become a president. There's been so many people that started campaigns and just eventually just they lost. So his chances of winning a presidential campaign is really low, in my opinion, just because in terms of he has his ways making business, but at the same time, you have to have some certain requirements to become a president, and he just doesn't have them, in my opinion. So yeah, man, start a presidential campaign. That's possible. So we got 2 out of 4 out of this list so far. He could become a world champion, not a chance. He get married, have 3 kids, fight on the moon, not a chance. Start a presidential campaign, he could do that. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Play in the NFL. Oh, okay, so you got your boy Jake. How old he is? 28, 27, 28. Yeah, he's still out there, but he's just not that big, bro. You gotta be a fucking 260-pound, 6'6", 6'7" fucking athlete, dude. You gotta be an athletic, 260 pounds, 6'6" fucking phenom. All right, you gotta be that. I'm not talking about the Undertaker. All right, I'm not talking about the phenom, the Undertaker. I'm talking about you gotta be out of your mind to become you gotta have a specific requirement or requirements. And this guy doesn't have them. Look, he's a boxer, but he's not an athlete. I don't think he's not fast in running. He doesn't look like he's quick, in my opinion. He just doesn't look athletic. And can he throw? I don't know if he can throw a ball. He could probably be a quarterback, but in order to be a quarterback, you gotta be really really good at. You gotta be really good, IQ, in order to make them plays and execute them and throw that football at a good distance. So you gotta be That's why, Tom Brady was able to be a quarterback. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not the fastest dude. He's not an athlete, in my opinion. But he is smart. He knows how to make plays, or he knew how to make plays because he retired. And he just knew how to throw a fucking football. He was so good at throwing the football. And obviously his IQ. It's what got him all those Super Bowls. And I just don't think he has those requirements. Those requirements only meet Tom Brady, and there's only gonna be one Tom Brady in this fucking sport, bro. In the NFL, it's gonna be Tom Brady. And that's it. So playing the NFL, not a chance, unless they give you a chance because of your name. There's been some times, like for example, Gabe Stevenson. Gabe Stevenson, the wrestler who has a lot of accolades in wrestling. He's just one of the best wrestlers and stuff like that. And, he went to WWE, couldn't make it, failed. Then he decided to go to try out for a football team. I forgot what team it was. Forgot what team it was, but he was only there for like 3 weeks, and then they let him go because it's not good enough. And he's athletic, and just because his name, Gabe Stevenson, and everything, they decided to give him, a try. But before the season started, they let him go. So, he failed, man. And to play in the NFL, bro, there's so many people that try out and just don't make it. So his chances is really low. So I'm gonna give playing in the NFL not a chance, my boy. Not a chance, man. Not a chance. Okay, launch a better launch your fucking super app. A better. I don't understand that one. Launch some sort of app. That's all I know. I don't know. He wants to fucking make an app. He can make an app. I mean, that's possible. He can make. I just don't know what app he's trying to make here. Launch a better super app or some nonsense. I cannot read, but it is what it is. He can make that one, whatever that is. A social. I don't know what that one is. A social. I don't know. The fuck is this? I don't know. I don't know what that one is either. So, man, Jake Paul should have taken a better picture so I could read all your goals, my boy. I don't know what the hell that is. All right, let's go back down, bro. Let's go down here. Become a billionaire. I mean, it's possible. I mean, by the way, he's scamming all these people that have a small brain who just keep getting scammed, in my opinion. And they just keep getting, tricked into, paying money for what? Like I'm telling you. I mean, I think his fight. Where is this fight going to be? Is it going to be on Netflix? Him and Gervonta Davis? It might be on Netflix. So, but at the same time, he can make money. He's made a lot of money. He's a young lad, and he's made a lot of money already. So yeah, could he become a billionaire? Yeah, he can, as long as he remains alive in the next 40 years. 100% he's gonna become a millionaire at some point. I mean, this guy knows how to be in the eyes and being in the mouths of a lot of people. This guy knows how to be in there. He's like he reminds me of a chameleon. He reminds me of a chameleon who fucking just he reminds me of a chameleon who just camouflages with the environment around him. That's what so that's what he reminds me of a chameleon. So yeah, he could become a billionaire for sure. Be Alexander Usyk.
You serious?
Okay, Jake Paul. Look, at first I'm like, beat Alexander Usyk? I mean, you're never gonna beat Alexander Usyk. He's one of the greatest heavyweights of this era. All right, unbeatable, undefeated, beating the best at heavyweight, at cruiserweight, undisputed twice or 3 times now, and he's a generational talent. You're never gonna be someone like Usyk. Unless he waits 20 years, waits for Alexander Usyk to be 20, an extra 20 years, wait for Alexander Usyk to be on his 60s, then maybe he's gonna fight him. He might be Alexander Usyk when he's 60 years old, but he's never gonna be. If Alexander is 60 years old, how old is he gonna be Jake Paul? I mean, I don't think he'll ever be Jake Paul. I mean, Alexander Usyk, because Alexander Usyk is just not a chance. Because by the time Alexander's 60 years old, Jake Paul's gonna be like what? Like in his fucking 50s, early 50s, and I don't think Jake Paul's gonna be fighting at that stage of his career. So yeah, he's never gonna beat Alexander Usyk because he's never beating this Usyk. Not in 1 year, not in 2 years, not even in 3 years. Not even in 4 years, man. I just don't think he's gonna beat Usyk, because Usyk is these type of guys who I don't think he's gonna get that much out of shape. I think he's still gonna be training, just to train. But I just don't think he's gonna, be one of those guys that get fat all of a sudden, like Billy Joe Saunders. Look at Billy Joe Saunders. He looks like legit. He looks like a fat chipmunk. Okay, Billy Joe Saunders. But happy retirement, champ. Happy retirement. All right. Never beating Usyk. He's delusional, out of his depth. But yeah, built a 100 million ranch utopia. I mean, yeah, that is possible for Jake Paul. 100%, he can make a ranch. Like, he wants to make a utopia of a bunch of animals. Like, just have a bunch of animals living in there, or what the hell is he trying to do? He's trying to, well, I mean, good for him. I mean, he's trying to give all these chickens and all these pigs and all these, sheep, a better place to live. So, gotta care for taking care of these animals, man. 100%. Win an Oscar for Best Actor. So this is the last one, man. And winning an Oscar for Best Actor. I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry, Jake Paul. You're never gonna win an Oscar for the Best Actor because he's not a great actor, man. Like, I know he was at Disney. He was at Disney for a bit before he became, a Viner, and then he went to YouTube eventually, and then he's where he's at now. But, man, to win an Oscar or Best Actor, bro, you gotta be a fucking generational at being an actor, bro. You gotta be a generational talent. Look how good Leonardo DiCaprio is. He's been one of the best actors in the last 20 years, 25 years. And he barely won an Oscar like not too long ago, a couple years back. But he should have won an Oscar sooner. He should have won an Oscar on the Wolf of Wall Street. He should have won an Oscar on the Titanic. But he never won an Oscar until he made The Revenant. Where he fought his wolf, I think, or some crazy shit. But yeah, man, like, you gotta be a talented to win an Oscar in Best Actor, and I just don't think that's possible unless he buys it off. I mean, the only way this guy could, do any of this is if he just pays the money, because he has the money to do that. But to win it a legit way by hard work, it's not happening. I'm sorry, Jake Paul, for bringing you down, my boy, but I respect your goals. I respect your enthusiasm and the way you think, but it ain't happening, my boy. Winning an Oscar for Best Actor, you're not a good actor, my friend. You're not a good actor. I'm sorry, you're not a good actor. You're gonna have years of practice of acting to even become close to an Oscar, man. Especially an Oscar for the Best Actor, bro. We're talking about the Best Actor. You gotta be the star of a movie. You gotta be the star of a movie in order to win the Best Actor. You gotta be the protagonist of a movie, and I don't think Jake Paul is ever gonna be a protagonist unless he makes his own goddamn movie. That's the only way he might win or something. I don't know. It's too much for him, man, in my opinion. But yeah, man, there you go. Jake Paul's delusional takes and delusional goals. But I respect it at the same time for even having the audacity to even write it down and to post it. Give you props for that one, man. Give you props for that one. But I wish you well, champ. Hopefully, But yeah, like I said, this is a 5-year plan. So, like I said, he's not beating Usyk in 5 years. He's not beating Usyk in 5 years, brother. Not a chance. Usyk will still whip his ass. You know. So yeah, man. So let me know what y'all think about Jake Paul's his goals and his achievements. How many of you guys, or how many goals do you guys think he can accomplish in 5 years out of all these? Tell me, because I think out of all these, getting married, that's one. I mean, having 3 kids in 5 years is fucking insane. You'll be pumped. You're gonna go in there raw, brother. You ain't gonna go in there. You ain't gonna pull out at all. Every time there's some action in the bed, no pulling out. That's gonna be the rule. Fighting on the moon, not a chance. So start, 2. I don't know. Launch his app. He could fucking launch an app for sure. So he could do that one too. So that's 3. I think he could do 5 of these. Getting married, having 3 children, that's 1. Start a presidential campaign, that is 2. Launches an app, some sort of app. He could do that. Something about a sports book. I don't know what that means, but I don't know. Become a billionaire, he could do that. And build a ranch, 100 million, yep. So yeah, there's some accomplishments that he can do. But all the other ones are completely unrealistic, man, in my opinion. So yeah, man. I just wish in all of these plans, KSI would have been in there. Come on, man. No KSI. He wants to fight all those under Usyk. He wants to fight in the moon, but he doesn't want to fight KSI. Okay, man. Okay. That is a fight that we all want. But the longer it's taking, the longer the interest is going away, in my opinion. So, yeah, man. Yours truly, Jake. Let me know, guys, what you think about this whole list. And yeah, man. Thank y'all for watching.